Good morning. And I'll tell you, I said yes to something about a month and a half ago, and that is when I met your next speaker. And that was a great day, and I can't tell you how much joy it has brought to my life just getting to know her. And I know during the next few minutes, you're going to see many of the things I've seen. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next person. Her name is Tamara Milford. She's from McGavick High School. She's in the Academy of Health Science and Law, works in criminal justice, has already been on the mock trial team. I think you're going to see that she has three attributes that when someone in one of the early speeches said, "What are the three things that define you?" So I looked over to Tamir and I said, "What are those three words?" She said, "Happy, nice, and hardworking." And I think you're going to see all three of those attributes because the one thing I remember about her is the infectious smile. So it gives me great honor to introduce Miss Tamara Milford from McGavick High School.
My life is not what it appears to be. I've made a lot of mistakes in life, but they say you can't progress until you've learned from them. Believe me, I've learned from my mistakes. See, that's the great thing about life. Everyone can live their life how they see fit. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tamara Milford, and I'm so excited to be here at TEDx today. The topic of my speech is called My Future, My Way. Now, stay along with me as I'll go through a course of birthdays, but please be patient. Now, the title of my speech is called My Future, My Way, but I can't get to the future without going back to the past. So let's go back to when I was young, about 8 years old. I'm not from Nashville, I'm actually from Chicago, Illinois. And Chicago isn't what people makes it seem to be. I've actually grown to love Chicago, and that's truly a place I can call home, and everyone's so nice and welcoming. Now, in Chicago, we lived in the projects, and my mom would do anything she could to provide for me and my siblings. And when the projects decided to renovate them, we moved into a better part of the city. And I loved it there. I knew my way around the city so well that by age 8, me and my siblings could take the city bus from my new house to our old house and back again. And I would never try that here in Nashville, just to let you know. So at age 8, my mother started to date my brother's father, and he wasn't right for her, and everyone around us knew that. I knew that I didn't want that for myself, and my mother definitely did not deserve it either. And eventually she got tired of it, and we decided to pick up our things and we moved to this great music city called Nashville, Tennessee. Now, when we first arrived here, I knew no one. My mother had lived here previously, but she hadn't been here for a while. So we stayed in a house on Trinity, in a hotel on Trinity Lane for a few months until she got up enough money to pay for our first house. And when we moved into our new house, it was coming up on my 10th birthday. And she says, "Sweetie, I just moved into this big house. We have no furniture. And I'm sorry, I can't do anything for your birthday." And I said, "Mom, it's cool. All I want is a pickle." And she said, "All you want is a pickle?" And I said, "Yeah, all I want is a pickle." So by the end of that day, I had me two pickles, and I felt like the little kid off of Little Rascals singing that two pickle song. And I was happy because she was happy, and I didn't put any stress on her. So in Nashville, life is great. We fast forwarded a few years, and we are now in our first two-story home. And this was epic because we've always lived on one floor home. So my mom, when we got this new house, she said, "Downstairs is my house. Point blank, period. It's my house. I will only come to y'all house, which is upstairs, if I need something from out of the kitchen." So that was our living arrangements. And life was good at home, but at school, kids didn't like me. And it was because I wore my hair in a ponytail and I wasn't wearing all the name brand clothes. And I talked a certain way and I walked a certain way, but that didn't matter to me because, see, I knew who I was as a person. Now in Chicago, had people started talking about me, I would have fought. And in Chicago's rap sheet is about as long as my arm. I've been in school detention, before school detention, after school detention, suspension. Only thing I'm missing is expulsion. Hopefully, I won't get that. So, moving to Nashville, I decided that I wasn't going to be as the little terror that I was in Chicago. So, I said, no fighting for me. And it's now my 13th birthday, so I say I want to throw this party for myself because 13, you're becoming a teenager, and I want to do something big. So I send out invitations, I make the food, my mom gets the cake, and everything's happy, and no one my age shows up. I was a little bit upset, but not to the point where I was going to fight anyone or throw a big temper tantrum. See, because although no one my age showed up, there were people that showed up even though they were under the age of 7. And hey, they had a great time. They hunted for eggs and they sung happy birthday to me, so that was always fun. And I vowed to myself that next year was definitely going to be better. So it's next year and it's 2012. And I'm the person in my family, I can always spot a secret before it even begins. So it's the month of my birthday, and my uncle is steady calling back and forth, and I'm like, something's not right here. And so I get on the phone with him, and I say, Uncle, you're coming down here for my birthday. And he says, where'd you get that from? And I'm like, I know you. He's like, well, I'm not going to be there. So we hang up the phone. 2 weeks later, my uncle shows up on the doorstep. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, I couldn't get nothing past you. And I'm like, I knew you were coming. And it was fun because my uncle's there and he's moving into our new house. And my 14th birthday was the first year ever that my birthday actually fell during school. I'm usually on spring break. And I always envisioned my mom bringing up cupcakes to the class and ice cream and them singing happy birthday. So that's what we did. And I had a great time. Anytime my mom came to the school, it was fun. And so the next birthday in the house was my uncle's. His birthday is April 23rd, but it was during the weekday, so my mom decides to throw his party on the weekend, April 21st. So I'm helping her get ready for the party. She invites all her friends because my uncle doesn't know anyone here, and I'm helping her get dressed. She's cooked a lot of food, and she looks beautiful as always. And naturally, I get myself dressed too because in my mind, I'm going to the party. And so when she sees me all dressed up, she's like, Tamara, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the party. She said, no, you're not. I said, dang it. And then she said, but I love you. You can have sweets. And I was like, sweets or the party? Sweets or the I'm going to go with the sweets. So I went in the living room, and my brothers, they were playing the Wii, and I'm always an early sleeper, so it's about 9 o'clock, and I decide to lay down. And right before I go to sleep, my uncle's girlfriend come running up the stairs. And she says to me, she sits on me, so I wakes up, and she says, call 911. And I'm halfway asleep, and I don't know what's going on, but naturally, I get 911 on the phone. And while we're on the phone with the dispatcher, gunshots fire. I didn't know what was going on, so I took my siblings and I hit them in the back. And I was just waiting around. I didn't know what was going on, but I did hear gunshots, so I was scared. But I didn't let people see it. And so I hear my sister scream, and I go downstairs, and right when I go downstairs, my uncle shams the door shut. And so right when he does that, the ambulances and the police cars arrive, and they said that it was not a great place to be. It was hazardous. It was blood everywhere, so we had to leave the house, and I took my siblings down to the neighbor's house, and me and my older sister, we stood outside waiting on the paramedics and stuff to leave. And then they started packing up, and I didn't know where my mother was, so I was getting worried. And I went to the paramedics and I asked them had they seen my mother, and he asked for a description, and I gave him one. Then he couldn't look at me. And so the detectives went down and they asked us to come make a statement, and then I found out that of the 4 people that got hurt that night, my mother was the one that did not make it. This was this was it was hard because me and my mom, we were really close, and I would do anything for her and she would do anything for me. We were like Bonnie and Clyde. And then she was gone at the age of 32, and it was hurtful. And my uncles and my granny, they had her body shipped back to Chicago, and they were making funeral arrangements. So the day of the funeral, we got called into me and my siblings, we got called into the Department of Children's Services emergency family meeting. So while my mother was in Chicago being buried, we were sitting in a child and family team meeting deciding where we were going to live for the rest of our lives. And anyone anyone not strong enough, this could have really done some damage. And sitting in that chair at that office, I decided that I wasn't going to feel sorry for myself because I knew where I wanted to be in 10 years. I wanted to become a, a mother, a wife. I wanted to graduate high school. I wanted to go to college. And I was going to do this all because of my mother. I didn't I didn't want to feel shameful because of her death, and I didn't want that to be an excuse on why I couldn't succeed in life. So there may be someone out here in the audience that has gone through something tragic that was unexpected, or it may be more, it may be less than the death of a mother, but I just want you to know that you don't have to let that event deter you from what you want to do for the rest of your life. See, that statement that I made sitting in that Department of Children's Services, I decided that I was going to live that statement out. So I joined the mock trial team. I'm in criminal justice, and I saw the president, and I'm still an all honor roll student, and I'm meeting new people, and I'm doing new things, and I wouldn't have been at TEDx. See, I'm taking my mother's death as a sight. It's a picture in my mind, and I know where every step that I take, she's going to be right there with me, and I'm doing this all for her. So I just want to encourage you that you can move past it. It's gonna take time, but you don't have to lash out or just be violent just because you lost a relative. It's your future, and you're doing it your way. Thank you.